I want you to disregard that coil in there. That was an experimental coil that I hadn't used, because just after this idea of making it just longer instead of changing the diameter, I then came up with the idea to change the diameter, and then I proceeded to go straight to the experiment that you all just saw me do, which yielded more of a colloidal precipitate. So this is going to have to be thrown away, or at least recycled in some way, shape or form. I've ordered some more copper online to make a much larger diametered coil, and I'm going to be using that jar, which is a 5-litre jar. 5 litres is just a bit more than 4 gallons. I'd say by about a pint or a pint and a half. And that's a much larger body of water, so I'm hoping it'll tear it apart even more. I'm going to make sure the coil doesn't hit the floor. I'll probably coil it down to about half for the size of that jar right there. And then hopefully I should end up gathering much more copper. We'll see. But that isn't coming for a while, so I'm gonna have to put down the camera for a little while longer until it eventually shows up in the post. I'll speak to you guys pretty soon. If you're wondering what that noise is, it's that. Okay, what still? Someone actually mentioned to me the other day, hey Ryan, what do you think about reverse osmosis filters? They're the big things that get put underneath your sink. I've actually got one here that hasn't been opened. It's within these boxes. If any of you want that, message me over on Outlook and I'll sell it to you for a much cheaper price that it's currently going for. So this is the leftover precipitate of the copper, okay? And like I said, that's a 5-litre jar, which is quite big, okay? Next to it is this beaker here. And as you can see here, this copper precipitate has settled. This is about 4 days worth. And as you can see, just 4 days only made about, what? Just over 100 grams. Whereas if you look at this, I'm pretty sure that's over 100 grams because the width of this is quite large, you know, in comparison to the little one over there. So I'm hoping that when I take this top off and that top off and I put this inside of there, that beaker goes way up when it comes to the amount that's actually in there. I'm hoping to hit around, let's see, 400 grams hopefully, give or take. That was pretty cool. You know why? Because none of that got in my mouth. Now I'm going to use this to take away the remaining water level, including the remaining water level on that one. So arriving tomorrow, it's my new glass funnel. It is 120 millimeters, that's 12 centimeters wide, and this bookshelf is going to be changed into a cold drip tower. I'm actually going to use these shelving units in order to cut up holes where these filters and where this will be placed. Right now I'm going to have to strip the shelf and get ready for tomorrow because I feel like doing that today. Boom. Let's go remove that. Completely empty. Next, dust it. I'm gonna do the biggest size on this shelf here. It's gonna be the biggest hole. So I've done the measurements, and just to make sure that they're perfect, I'm going to drill a hole in this top one. And then once the hole's drilled, I'll put a laser through it. And then that will show me where it is here, and hopefully it will hit where the X is. On the third shelf where the jar is, I just simply measured out where it's going to be. See a little notch there? That goes straight through to the other side to where the other notch is, and that will just at least tell me where the jar would be centered. But yeah, let's do this. All set. Laser ready. Putting the X directly above the hole to the point where it disappears. Shows that it's landing straight on the secondary X. I have the urge to just drill it while it's together. So I decided to go ahead and put a hole through it. And I must say, that is one neat hole. Moment of truth. Ooh, that's a nice fit. Some wiggle room there. Nice. Even looks good. No doubt in my mind. Little drip through. I'm gonna put the second hole in. Check it out. I did it. So you can see the solution will be in there. It will drip down through that funnel, which will have a few filters in it that are 0.7 micron. I tried to get 0.5, but I couldn't find it online. And then it goes into the bottle. Obviously the jar will be completely opened up with the lid, and it will just collect in the bottom there. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Now this won't be the funnel that's going in it for the experiment date. This is actually a 7 diameter funnel. The one that's coming is 120, so it'll be a 12 centimeter diameter, which will be about 7, maybe this big. Be pretty big. It's going to come up quite a bit as well. And then it's going to have the filters sat in. The filters themselves are 9 diameter, so there'll be a good amount of rim there for the water to come in. And the filter itself needs to be wet first, so I'd have to wet it in distilled water, then put it in, and then allow this to drip through. And once it drips through, it will come through here and go into the jar, you know? Pretty perfect. I mean, it fits in that space pretty well. It makes the furniture look pretty awesome. Pretty practical. You know, I always wondered, like, if I was an alchemist, if I was into all of this, how would my lab be? Because I'm quite different, you know. I don't always like having things looking kind of clunky and messy. I like putting things into things, you know, having laboratory equipment look like furniture. And I mean, my kitchen is an example of that, so this is pretty cool. And I can take this shelf wherever I go as well and build it up and keep this. Because honestly, a tower like that, it's called a cold drip, it's like $400, and I've just managed to do it, and all I did was spend, I think it was £7 on that. And everything else I already had. If I want, I can get a coffee filter here. I can just get the filter itself, put coffee in there, sit it there, and have that drip through with cold water, have it go through for about 5 hours, and then what will happen is you'll get a smoother taste of coffee. You can do the same with tea as well, and that's why they call it a cold drip. But yeah, I'll see you... Oh, one more thing. This is how much I've managed to gather so far. It's half the beaker's worth. And it's pretty dense in there. It's compacting itself, I've noticed. Because this morning that was up where the 500 gram marker is. It's the second one. This measurement though, this metric, is done in flour metric. That's on the other side. And it's measuring around about 500 grams, which is pretty good.